Hello. So today we're going to cover section 1.4 and its equations of a line. One equation of a line is the slope-intercept form, and it's y equals mx plus b. M is your slope and b is the y-intercept. And a lot of times they write it as a point because x is 0 and then your b value. Let's look at one. If the slope is 6 and the y-intercept is a negative 2/3, write the equation of the line. When we know that y equals mx plus b, and we know y is the slope, which in the problem it said was 6, x, and then it's a negative 2/3 for b. So your y-intercept is the b. And that's all that's to it. So your slope is with the x value, and the constant by itself is the y-intercept. Looking at this one then, we have y equals mx plus b. M is your slope, which in this case is a negative 1/2 x, and your y-intercept is a plus 3. And that would be your equation. When you're given the point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. M is still your slope, and you're given a point instead of the y-intercept. So then you can use this equation, and then you just solve for y. So find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line with the slope 1/2 through the point 1, negative 1. And so we'd use this equation, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus y1 is a negative 1 to the slope, which was 1/2, times x minus x1, which was 1. Then negative and negative is a positive, so y plus 1 equals, distributing the 1/2 x minus 1/2. Then just subtract the 1 to the other side, because in most cases you do want it solved for y. 1/2 x, and then negative 1 minus 1 is a negative 3/2. A lot of times, instead of giving us a slope, they'll give us 2 points. So if you write the equation line passing through 2 points, the first thing you have to do is find your slope. Once you find the slope, you solve it just like we did the last problem. So then use the slope in either point as we did the last problem. So if we have this, then to find the slope, you subtract the y's and then the x's, because it's your change in y over your change in x, or rise over run. So we subtract our y's, 4 minus a negative 1, over 1 minus 2. So 4 plus 1 is 5 over a negative 1. Our slope is a negative 5. Then we use this in either one of the 2 points. It doesn't matter which one you choose. You can choose either one. I use this one. So we have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We're going to use this as my x1 and my y1. So I have y minus a negative 1 equals a negative 5 times x minus 2. 2 from here. So y plus 1 equals, distributing the negative 5, a negative 5x plus 10, and then bring the 1 over. Y equals negative 5x plus 9. Now, sometimes also they'll give you the x and the y intercepts. When that happens, you can write these as points and you do the same thing we just did. So remember, the x-intercept is the point 3, 0, and the y-intercept is the point 0, negative 4. So find our slope. Negative 4 minus 0 over 0 minus 3 equals a negative 4 over a negative 3, or 4/3. Can't even read that. So we have a slope and we have a y-intercept. Now you could either plug it in here, or we can do y equals mx plus b, because we know the y-intercept. It would be y equals 4/3 x minus 4. If we do it this way, I'll choose this point, 3, 0. It would be y minus 0 equals m, which is 4/3, x minus 3. Y minus 0 is y. Distributing the 4/3, we have 4/3 x, and then 4/3 times a negative 3 is a negative. The 3's cancel and just leave 4, which is the same thing we got here. So either way will work. It's up to you. In the business aspect, y equals mx plus b, m is your slope, but it's also called the rate of change or marginal change, change in y over change in x, which I told you that one. But all of these, if you see them in any type of a problem, they mean the slope. B is, we know it is the y-intercept, but it's also called fixed cost. Value of a function when x is 0, that's a 0. Because if you plug 0 in here, this drops out and just leaves b. So at time 0, at 0 miles, it tells you your starting cost. It's your starting amount, or your y-intercept. Okay, let's look at a problem. Renting a U-Haul truck costs $49.99 plus 25 cents a mile. Write an equation for y, the total cost to rent the truck, and x. Oh, I didn't finish it. And x, the number of miles. Okay. Y. So y equals, now m can be a rate of change. Rate of change. And our rate of change is 25 cents per mile. And x is the number of miles. But it costs $49.99 to start. That's your fixed cost. So it costs $49.99 to start, and then it's 25 cents per mile. Let's look at another one. If a car depreciates as a linear function, find each over a 5-year period. The original value is $25,000, and in 5 years the value is $12,500. So linear means straight line, y equals mx plus b. But it says how much has it depreciated over 5 years? Well, if it started with $25,000 and after 5 years it's $12,500, then if we subtract them, it will tell us how much it depreciated or lost value. So we want to take the $25,000 and subtract the $12,500. And we get $12,500. So it depreciated in half. So in 5 years, it dropped $12,500. How much is that per year? Well, if we know it's this much in 5 years, if we take that and divide by the 5 years, that will tell us how much it depreciated each year. And that's $2,500. Write an equation where V equals the value and T equals time. So the value of the car equals the rate it's changing, so it's decreasing by $2,500. So it decreases at a rate of $2,500 per year, and the starting value was $25,000. So it starts at $25,000 and it drops $2,500 per year. Whoops, and I didn't show you that. So this was our starting, and it drops $2,500 per year. Here's some special cases of lines. A horizontal and a vertical line. So a horizontal line goes across like the horizon, and its slope is 0 because it's not increasing, it's not decreasing. The slope is 0. And the equation doesn't have an x in it, but y equals a number. So this one, notice it's crossing the y-axis at 1. This equation would be y equals 1. If we want to write an equation of the horizontal line through the point 2, -3, if it's horizontal, we know it's y equals, and the y value, -3. And that's all that's to it, but it's just a special case. They pop up every once in a while, so you want to remember. The vertical line, its slope is undefined, and its equation doesn't have a y in it. It's x equals a number. So if we look at this vertical line, it's crossing at 3. Its equation would be x equals 3. And if we wanted to write an equation of a vertical line through the point 6, 2, if it's vertical, it's x. And we know that x equals 6. So those are two special cases. Here. We want to find average rate of change. So if y equals a -x squared, find the average rate of change from -3 and -1. Average rate of change, that's your slope. But we only have x values. Well, we can plug these x values into here to get the y values. So we have -3, y equals -3 squared. Now, -3 times -3 is 9, but this negative makes it a positive 9. Do the same thing for -1. Y equals a negative times a -1 squared. -1 squared is 1 times this negative makes it a -1. So it's a -1, 1. Then rate of change is just slope. So we go -1 minus 9 over -1 minus a -3 equals a -10 over, this becomes a plus, so over 2, which equals -5. So our rate of change is a -5, which means from -3 to 1, our graph drops 5 units. Okay, one more in this section. Well, then these. But an arrow is shot straight upward with its height in feet after t seconds, where f of t is a -16t squared plus 192x. I don't know why I changed variables. Let's make this a t. Find the average velocity of the arrow from 2 to 6.5 seconds. Average velocity, slope. So we're finding the slope again. And again, we only have the x values, or in this case, t. So we need to find when it's 2 and when it's 6.5. When things are falling with gravity, you'll always see that -16t squared. So -16, let's put it in. So what is it? F of 2. So times 4 plus 192 times 2. And I got 320 here. And 572 here. So then we want average velocity, which is the same as slope. 572 minus 320 over 6.5 minus 2. And we get 56. So the average velocity is 56 seconds per, or 56 feet per second. Because it's always y over x. Okay, the next one, we want to take a function. We'll start with this one. We want to find f of x plus h minus f of x over h. And the function we're going to start with is this. So you can break it into parts. First, find f of x plus h. We find f of x plus h first. That's just putting x plus h in for x. So that would be 2 times x plus h minus 5. That's all that's to it. So then we want f of x plus h minus f of x. So that means to take this, and we could distribute. Let's distribute the 2 first. 2x plus 2h minus 5. So if we take that answer, because that's x plus h, we have 2x plus 2h minus 5. And then we want to subtract f of x, which is 2x minus 5. Distribute that negative. And then when you do that, a lot of things cancel. Notice the 2x's cancel and the 5's cancel, and we're only left with 2h. And once we get there, we want to divide by h. And so our answer is 2. We'll use this a lot when we're finding maximums and minimums of a problem. Let's try another one. Let me get a clean sheet. So if we have 3x squared minus 1, and we want to find f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. First find f of x plus h. That means to take this and put your x plus h in. So we have 3x plus h squared, which means we need to square this, but remember, x plus h squared is x plus h times x plus h. So if we FOIL that, we have x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 1. And then distribute your 3. 3x squared plus 6xh plus 3h squared minus 1. All of that is f of x plus h. Then we want to take f of x plus h and subtract the original function. So we have all of this. And then we subtract the original. 3x squared minus 1. Now, if you don't want to rewrite all of that again, I always make this a plus and then distribute my negative. When I do that, everything in here should cancel, or I did something wrong. Notice the 3 squared cancels with the 3 squared, and the 1 cancels with the 1. Everything that's left should have an h in it. So we have a 6xh left and a 3h squared. And we want to divide it by h. Now you need to reduce. The h that you just divided by should reduce. Notice all 3 terms have an h in it. So we can cancel an h from here, here, and one of these. And we're left with 6x plus 3. And that's your answer. Let's see how these go. If you still have questions, let me know. We'll do some more. I'm sure they'll be coming up even more. Thank you.